But the first question, Eric, that we're going to talk about tonight is this. Was this loss to the Panthers just another instance of SOL? Please sound off in the comments. But, Eric, I'm going to throw it to you first. Is this SOL, like, literally rearing its head?
You know what? I feel like if it is SOL, it has to be applied correctly. And I think this is the part that's missed in the SOL conversation. There's SOL for the Lions and how they play, but it's also SOL, but with the fans and what we're accustomed to and what we're used to seeing. So, will the fans say it's SOL? Yes, I've seen a lot of that.
I've seen
For
a lot of
me,
it too.
I don't think it is. You have a team that, as we talked about, I think they were due for a game where they weren't going to look as sexy as they have. I didn't think it was going to result in a loss. We kind of expected it to look similar to what we saw with the Jets. Maybe not as, like I said, not really dynamic, but you were going to at least show you're the best team on the field. And I feel like even though they had a horrible game on both sides of the ball, it's so much to pick apart. It's so many players to get to. But I'm just to address the question directly for now. I don't think it's fair to call it SOL for this team based on how they've been playing still over the past 7 or 8 weeks, which has been productive and beneficial football. And they're also the youngest team, one of the youngest teams in the NFL. I don't think they've been that lionized mode yet. So I don't think it's fair to label this an SOL performance by them. I just don't think that's what we saw.
I think that it's very important what you said is how you apply the term SOL.
Yes.
Did they create a new way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? No, they didn't. They literally just were not prepared, as Dan Campbell said, which, like, to me, I have a little bit of an issue with that statement, and we can talk about that in a little bit.
Please.
Like, it's literally your job to be prepared.
Yeah.
So don't give me that, first of all. But same old Lions. This isn't the same old Lions team. They've proved that over the last 6 weeks. So I'm not going to label this team in a way that says they're the same old Lions, because I don't think that they are.
Right.
But what happened on Saturday was SOL.
Wow.
In the sense that, not the team. And I want to be very careful on how we apply this.
Right. Yes.
Not the team. But the fact that you are on the cusp of a playoff berth, literally could have been in the playoffs if you win that game, because everything else that needed to happen happened that weekend.
It did. Oh my god.
You would be sitting in the playoff picture right now had you won that game, but you didn't.
Yep.
You showed up and were more like the 1-6 team that we saw through the first 7 games than the 6-1 team that we saw over the last 7 games.
Yep.
And the situation, the circumstance is SOL.
Okay, that's fair.
For dropping the game that you were supposed to win. I mean, Bugs even came out after the game and said, we're the better team.
Yeah.
They just beat us today. Well, yeah, they didn't just beat you. They literally made you piss down your leg and run and hide in a corner.
Bad.
You were bullied from the get-go and ran and cowered away. That is the least grittiest thing I have seen. And it was the softest performance I've seen in a long time. That was brutal. And I think I text you, I think it was yesterday I text you, or maybe the day before. So I am legitimately, irrationally mad about the way that this game turned out because there was no fight. I don't care if you lose. You play the game. The chips fall where they may. But the way that you lost,
can't happen.
It cannot happen.
You can't allow 240 rushing yards in the first half, 100 yards each to 2 different dudes, 570 yards total.
Chuba Hubbard had 106 yards on 6 carries in the first half.
Not Nick Chubb, not Derrick Henry. Like, no. This is the Panthers that have, even though they're in the playoff hunt just because of their horrible division, they're as motivated as you are, and you completely just embarrassed yourself.
They are as motivated because they're on the outskirts of a playoff berth too.
Yep.
They're second in the NFC South.
Yep.
They're farther down on the wild card standings, obviously, at now 6-9, but like that instance, that loss itself, that circumstance of that loss was losing to a team you were not supposed to lose to. That is SOL. This team is not SOL. I want to be very clear in that distinction.
Yes.
But what happened on Saturday was SOL, man.
It was.
It was SOL.